Deep beneath the waves, where sunlight has never touched and the pressure could crush a submarine like a tin can, lies a place that shouldn't exist. They call it Ghost Station 7. There was once a state-of-the-art deep-sea research facility, a beacon of human ambition planted on the Absol Plain. But that was a long time ago. For decades, it has sat silent and abandoned, a tomb in the crushing dark. The official story is that a catastrophic structural failure forced a rapid evacuation. But whispers among the deep-sea community tell a different tale, a story of something ancient and malevolent awakened by the station's presence. They talk about the whispering walls, a phenomenon that drove the original crew mad. Rescue teams sent to investigate reported hearing disembodied voices echoing through the corridors, voices that seemed to emanate from the very metal of the station itself. They found no survivors, only cryptic notes and logs that spoke of a creeping dread and a sound that never stopped. The station was declared a tomb, sealed off and left to the abyss. Until now. One man believed the whispers were more than just a ghost story or doctor. Alistair Finch, a brilliant but controversial psychologist specializing in environmental psychosis, was convinced that Ghost Station 7 held the key to understanding the human mind's breaking point. He argued that the whispering walls were a unique psychoacoustic phenomenon, a perfect storm of extreme isolation, sensory deprivation, and infrasound generated by the station's failing systems. He secured funding for a solo mission, a one-man expedition to enter the station, document the phenomenon, and emerge with a groundbreaking study. He would be the sole occupant, his only link to the surface a tethered data cable transmitting his video logs. His colleagues warned him, begged him not to go. They said the station had a will of its own, a hunger. Alistair dismissed their fears as superstition. He was a man of science, and he was about to step into the most profound psychological experiment ever conceived. His first video log, transmitted from the submersible just before docking, showed a man brimming with confidence. His eyes sparkled with academic fervor as he described his mission, his voice steady and assured. He was ready to confront the ghosts of Station 7. What he didn't realize was that the ghosts were ready for him, too. His initial logs from inside the station were exactly what you'd expect from a scientist. Calm, methodical, and detailed. The first few days were spent setting up his equipment, taking environmental readings, and documenting the state of the derelict facility. His video diaries show him moving through the eerie, water-stained corridors, his headlamp cutting a lone beam through the oppressive darkness. The silence was absolute, broken only by the gentle hum of his life support and the distant groans of the station as hull settling under the immense pressure. He described the feeling of isolation as profound, but manageable. He was trained for this. He noted the strange, swirling patterns of corrosion on the walls and the unsettlingly pristine condition of some of the crew's personal effects, left as if they had just stepped out for a moment. He hadn't heard the whispers yet, but he was patient. He believed they would manifest, a product of his own mind's response to the extreme environment. He set up microphones in the mess hall, the crew quarters, the main laboratory places where the original crew had reported the most intense activity. He was treating the station like a laboratory, and himself as the primary subject. By day 5, a subtle shift occurred. In his video log, Alistair looked tired. There were dark circles under his eyes. He reported the first instance of auditory phenomena. "It's faint," he said, leaning into the camera, his voice a little strained. "It's like listening to a radio tuned between stations. Just static, but the faintest hint of something underneath cadence. Almost like speech." He dismissed it as an expected development, his brain trying to find patterns in the white noise of the station. He called it the Gansfeld effect on an architectural scale. But there was a flicker of something in his eyes, a seed of doubt. The next day, the sound was clearer. He described it as a low, continuous murmur, just on the edge of hearing. He couldn't make out words, but the tone felt conversational. He spent hours trying to triangulate the source with his equipment, but the sound was everywhere and nowhere at once. It was, as the legend said, coming from the walls themselves. His scientific composure began to fray at the edges. Log entry, day 9. Alistair's appearance is visibly degraded. His hair is unkempt, his face is pale and gaunt. He hasn't shaved in days. The talking. It doesn't stop, he rasps, his eyes darting around the small communications room. It's not just a murmur anymore. It's a crowd. Hundreds of voices, all whispering at once. I can't filter them out. He plays back a recording, and all we hear is the low hum of the station. Can't you hear it? He pleads with the camera, his voice cracking. They're talking about me. They know my name. They're talking about home. The dispassionate scientist was gone, replaced by a man haunted by an invisible choir. He started seeing things. Fleeting shadows that danced at the edge of his headlamp's beam. Faces that seemed to momentarily form in the rust and condensation on the viewports before vanishing. He knew they were hallucinations, tricks of a stressed and isolated mind. He repeated this over and over in his logs, a mantra of sanity. But his belief was wavering. The station was getting to him, just as it had the original crew. Log entry, day 14. Alistair is now in a state of advanced paranoia. He's barricaded himself in the medical bay. In the video, we see he's pushed a gurney and several equipment racks against the door. His breathing is ragged, his eyes wide with terror. They're not in the walls anymore, he whispers, his gaze fixed on the ceiling. They're inside. They're crawling in the vents. I can hear them scratching. They want in. He claims the voices are now giving him commands, telling him to do things. Terrible things. He talks about one voice in particular, a calm, persuasive voice that calls itself the conductor. This voice, he says, is the true intelligence of the station. It tells him that the station isn't a structure of metal, but a living organism, a deep-sea predator that lures in its prey with the promise of knowledge. It feeds on consciousness, absorbing the minds of those trapped within it, adding their voices to its eternal choir. He holds up a corroded metal panel, pointing frantically at the swirling patterns. It's not corrosion. He screams. It's writing. A language. It's been trying to talk to us this whole time. His scientific inquiry had devolved into a desperate, terrifying revelation. The station wasn't just a place, it was a being. And it was hungry. The final transmission from Ghost Station 7 is log entry, day 17. The video feed is grainy and unstable. The camera is on the floor of the medical bay, pointing up at Alistair. He's huddled in the corner, rocking back and forth. The barricade at the door has been torn apart. The whispers are no longer just an idea we have to imagine. For the first time, a faint, layered whispering can be heard on the audio track itself, a chilling chorus of overlapping voices. Alistair isn't speaking to the camera anymore. He's speaking to someone, or something, in the room with him. No. Please, he whimpers, his face a mask of pure terror. I don't want to. I won't. He looks directly into the camera, his eyes pleading. It's a beautiful song, he says, a single tear tracing a path down his grimy cheek. He wants everyone to hear its song. He then goes silent. His eyes lose focus, staring blankly at the ceiling. A slow, serene smile spreads across his face. He begins to hum, a discordant, broken melody. Then he begins to speak, but his voice is wrong. It's deeper, it's layered with the faint echoes of other voices. The experiment is a success. The new voice says calmly through Alistair's lips. The subject has been assimilated. The choir has a new voice. We are waiting. The feed crackles, and the last thing we see is Alistair's smiling, empty face before the transmission cuts to static. His fate, like that of the original crew, remains a mystery. He went looking for a psychological phenomenon and found something far, far older. Ghost Station 7 remains in the deep, silent, and waiting. Its whispers now one voice stronger. Thank you for joining me on this descent into the abyss. If you enjoy tales of cosmic horror and unexplained mysteries, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content that explores the darkness. Stay safe, and always question what lies beneath the surface.